So good evening, fellow members, and we have no guests today. Guests announced. And anyways, welcome to another meeting of the Cascade Speakeasy Club. It looks like our theme tonight is holiday likes and dislikes. I'm looking forward to hearing what people have to say about that. But first off, I'm going to turn the meeting over to our son-in-law to lead us through the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Madam President. You'll all please stand and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. And next, I would like everybody to please join me in welcoming our Toastmaster of the day, Kathleen McNulty.
Good evening, everyone. Let's start with program changes. We only have one. Lloyd, you're going to be doing the evaluation of Selena's speech in Dean's place. Before we go to our joke of the day, and Pat, you have a joke, right? Okay. Before we get there, I wanted to talk a little bit about holidays because I was just on one. I was on a holiday first to Vegas, a destination of many Ruritanian pleasures. My first time to Vegas.
I'm going to change the word.
After Vegas, with just 2 days in Vegas, a shuttle down to Bryce and Zion for a hiking and biking tour. My question for you to think about as we talk about holidays today is what makes a holiday? I was on holiday and I saw many spectacular things in Vegas and elsewhere. I was on holiday with my husband. And my husband cannot have a moment unfilled with some activity because one can never look back and think that any time was wasted on the holiday. We would cycle for 3 hours, 1,500 miles elevation gain, and it would be like, okay, let's do another one for another 3,000 miles of elevation gain. The end always felt good, but that is my question for you. Is it a holiday if it is filled to the brim with activities? Some say no. Some say yes. Marry the person who agrees with you.
Smart.
Let's move on, Pat, for the joke of the day.
This is not exactly Ruritanian, but it cracked me up when I read it, so I'm going to share it with you. After I put on my glasses, which I left in there.
Do you mind, may I hand it to you? So that's allowed.
Thank you. And here is the joke of the day. A guy's grandfather clock stopped working. He called a repair shop to get it fixed, but they wanted $50 to come and get it. I'll bring it to you, the guy said. So he strapped the clock to his back and started walking down the big hill he lived on. Halfway down, he slipped and he slid down the hill into town just as a lady was crossing the street. He barreled into her and knocked her over. Dazed, disgruntled, and still on the ground, she asked, "Why can't you just wear a wristwatch like everyone else?"
Yes, yes. Thank you, Pat, for volunteering the joke of the day. That was awesome. And I'm pleased to introduce our general evaluator who will introduce her crack team of highly paid volunteers. Nikki, take it away.
Thank you very much, Madam Tabletop or Madam Toastmaster. I have a group of individuals who will be helping me today evaluate the meeting because part of Toastmasters is evaluation and feedback, and that is a very important part. First up, I have Lloyd Smith, who will be evaluating the speech. Lloyd, could you tell everybody what you'll be doing?
Vicki, today I'll be evaluating Selena's speech. Selena is doing the second project in level 1 of her path, which is that
Presentation master.
presentation master path. This is an interesting project. The basic idea is that she does one speech, the one tonight, gets feedback from it, then does another, either the same speech or a different speech later on, employing the feedback that she got from this speech. And then later she will evaluate another member's speech, and that will wrap up that project. Her time is 5 to 7, right? 5 to 7, whoever the timer, Marcus, yeah. Timer. So back to you, Vicki.
Thank you, Lloyd. Next up is Timer. Barbara, could you tell us what you'll be doing this evening?
Thank you, Vicki. As timer, I will time the table topic speakers, formal speeches, and the evaluations. I will also alert each speaker of the time they have left using the green, yellow, and red. Table topic speakers should limit their remarks to no more than 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I will raise the green card. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, I will raise the yellow card. And at 2 minutes, I will raise the red card. Most are your Selena, I will say, her speech tonight will be between 5 to 7 minutes in length. At 5 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 6 minutes, I will raise the yellow card. And at 7 minutes, I will raise the red card. Individual evaluations should be between 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I will raise the yellow card. At 3 minutes, I will raise the red card. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Next up, we have our grammarian who will introduce the word of the day, Eric Stepper. Eric.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Word of the day is Ruritanian. It's an adjective, and it's of, relating to, or having the characteristics of an imaginary place of high romance. I scoured high and low to get one that would stump this group. So we're going to use twice. Cats are top drawer. The dancers, here's in a sentence. The dancers are dressed in vaguely Ruritanian costumes. The men in military, the women in stiff tutus. Ruritanian. Thank you, Ms. General Evaluator.
Thank you. And to count all of our filler words, our counter this evening is Christina. Christina, will you tell us what you'll be doing?
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Tonight I will use the handy dandy all counters log to track smalls, thumbs, first, and well, so like, repetitions. And other, whatever other there happens to be. We were at an event Saturday, Friday, at which a young woman gave the speech. She needs to come to Toastmasters. It was one where we found ourselves counting odds and ums. I'm always distracted. Perhaps if we were more Ruritanian, we could get more people. We could come in our suits and tutus, just like we said. I would like to see all of us in tutus. I will report when called upon to do so. Madam General Evaluator.
I will report at the end of the meeting after my team gives their reports at how the meeting went over as a whole. At this time, I'm going to reintroduce our Toastmaster, Kathleen.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Selena's speech. She has done an excellent introduction here, so good, I'm going to read it verbatim while I try to look at the outline. Her speech title is Heirloom Apples, a Delicious American Tradition. Just how American is the apple? Very. For as the United States is a melting pot of races and ethnicities, so is the apple. Apple etymology is a fascinating study of personalities, happy accidents, and persistence, mixed with a healthy dose of tragedy. One pest infestation, hard frost, or extreme heat incident can dash the hopes of fledgling varieties. The growers at File Orchards in Douglas County harvest 210 varieties of apples, many of them heirlooms. These are the survivors of at least 2 million years of evolution and purposeful hybridization. Today's speech details the stories behind 17 File varieties, as it is still early apple picking season in the apple capital of the world. It is a crunchy, sweet, and sour tale of perfecting Malus domestica for our finicky palate. Welcome, Selena.
It's apple harvesting time in the apple capital of the world. Frost is blanketing the high hilltops. You can't see that yet, but you will soon. Snow is forecast above 6,000 feet, so expect to see the white caps on the mountains soon. Wasps, heavy and windfall drunk from sipping the sap of apples on the ground, are hovering, persistent, unwelcome picnic guests. Bin-laden trucks labeled Granny Smith, Jonagold, and Golden Delicious regularly trundle through our north central Washington communities. Sweet cidery scents linger and beckon from the roadside stands. The apple, or Malus domestica, is one of the most consumed fruit crops in the world because it stores a long time. We can sell it all over the world. In Wenatchee, orchard and packing shed names like Skookum, Oval, Stamilt, McDougal, and File trip off our tongues like place names. Stories abound of globe-trotting Wenatchee apples showing up on the streets of Hong Kong, Singapore, Canton, China, and Misawa, Japan. Researchers trace 2 million years of evolutionary history to the apple's modern iterations of Cosmic Crisp, Gala, and Fuji. Don't forget with the Cosmic Crisp, the trademark sign. People are very proprietary about their apple inventions. Its humble origins begin in temperate Western China, in Kazakhstan. Cuttings from the large sweet Malus sieversii journeyed the Silk Road in the hands of traders and blended flavors with the tart crabapple of Western Europe to form the tasty tapestry we enjoy today. Since 1908, the File family has labored to carve out a niche in heirloom apple crops, offering more than 200 seasonal varieties on about 100 acres. Just off of Highway 2 by the roundabout in the File Pioneer Fruit Stand. Early fall varietals include 17 currently in harvest. They all start from these 2 apples.
So like in the Lord of the Rings, there's one to rule them all. It's not true with apples because apples are very Ruritanian, right? They get together and they make some beautiful children. But these two were one of the first to get together to make some beautiful children. This funny looking little guy, it's kind of oblong, dates from the 17th century. It's called this candle sinep. Candle means lamp because the skin is luminescent, and it comes from the Sinap Peninsula on the Black Sea, and it keeps for months. Remember how important apple storage is to the international market. Apples have to be shipped across the world, and they have to keep fresh and not bruised. And the candle sinap was one of the first varieties that did that really, really well. And this little guy is the king of the apple pie apple. This is a Rhode Island greening. It dates from the 17th century, and it is an American apple. So the king and the queen get together, have a relationship, and we have all of these other wonderful, tasty apples. Starting with the Jonathan. Jonathan is a rock star from Woodstock, New York. It's a sweet rock star laced with a tiny undertone of acid, as you would imagine probably was going on at Woodstock in the 60s. It comes from a chance seedling in 1826. And it can be baked, dipped, grilled, covered in caramel, chopped into a salad, or served as a standalone fresh off the tree. Jonagold. Jonagold is just like it sounds. It's a cross between the Jonathan and the Golden Delicious. It grows in a greater variety of regions. That's why it was favored over the Jonathan or the Golden Delicious. It grows in a lot more places, and it's a lot more flexible in its seasonal range. This apple is the smokehouse. It's from Pennsylvania, and it was discovered as a seedling in 1837. This is the king. This is the king of pumpkins compared to the Sinap. Giant. So Honey Crisps are not as Ruritanian. They're not as vegetarian. So those of you who are online are having to look at the word because I can't remember how it's spelled, but it's not, because it emerged from a Minnesota agricultural experiment station, and it was planned to be discarded. It was going to be thrown away, but now it is actually the third most grown apple in the United States. I'm skipping ahead a little bit because I'm going to run out of time. The Rubinet, which is a Swedish apple, and it was first cultivated in the 1960s as an improvement to the Golden Delicious and the Cox's Orange Pivot. So whether your taste runs to ciders or sweets, crunchy to tart, there is likely an apple for you. Centuries, in fact millennia, have ensured a fruit fit for virtually every palate. 'Tis the season of the apple in north central Washington. It's carpe diem for the wise, fresh off the tree connoisseur. Seize the day and browse the file selection for a gem of a genus grown just for you. Thank you, Selena. That was a beautiful and delicious.
Feel free to take the props home with you.
Did you say this big one was the most,
King of the pumpkins.
and it is the third most grown?
No, that's the honey curse, but it was going to be thrown away.
Oh,
I did not know that. That's really.
can we get all these locally?
They are all available at Files Tree Fruit Stand.
I did not know that.
We have 210 varieties, and these are all the ones that are available now.
And they're on Highway 2.
Highway 2, on the way to Arundel. So the
Famous.
first roundabout, you turn around and then there's a fruit stand there, and the gentleman there, Octavio, is taken over from the File family. He knows about all of them.
Did you have any Macintosh there?
Well, they're not ripe yet, so remember 210
Because
varieties.
that's the only place around here I've been able to buy Macintosh.
Yeah, and this one is like,
To see a fa- a
going off the
fascinating
agenda a little bit, but this,
It's okay.
this is the golden russet, and it's described as moderately attractive. In other words, it's not going to fit the bill, right, in the American visual palette, because the visual is so important to us. But it has some strength that stores super well. It's got a really tough skin, does really well in cold storage. But it's not gonna stand out at Safeway.
I'm thinking of a follow-on speech about apple pie.
Yeah, I should have worked in the holiday thing in apple pie. We need to do her trip to recover from the apple pie.
Now it's time to turn to our table topics, and we welcome our.
What we want to do 1 minute.
I'm sorry, 1 minute. Thank you. That was lots of extra time to write your summaries.
I'm just interested. So you're saying that Granny Smith is not the apple of choice to make an apple pie? It's
No, it's the Greenland,
Green, what's it
the
called?
Rhode Island, the Greenland.
Road. Really?
Well, according to Google,
Oh,
you do what you like.
no, I want to try, I like them tarts.
And I would encourage you all to come and just smell them all, right? They're so different, like this European apple has a really subtle scent to it, while some of these more American apples will overpower you with their smell. It's just very, and Europeans actually prefer more subtle. There's a real difference in taste.
Are they more subtle tasting as well, or just a smell? Is
Yeah,
it just,
I don't know the answer to that.
As you finish your summary, pass it
Sorry.
over to Selena, and we will
I'm
move on.
fascinated. I am
And I'm
fascinated.
going to introduce our table topics master. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, forgot.
Oh, yes. Table topics is an opportunity for everyone to extemporaneously respond to a question, not knowing in advance what it's going to be. Everyone knows tonight that the topic is holidays, likes and dislikes. I want to begin with a little story. About a week before I was born, I heard people outside my little warm environment talking about Halloween. I was told, or I overheard, that Halloween is a day when ghosts and goblins and werewolves come out at night and terrorize people. I said, I don't want to come out that day. I'm staying here. You can just have your holiday and I'll come out the following day. And that's what I did. I was born on November 1st, All Saints Day. I therefore had an aversion to Halloween. The first question is, do you have a holiday that you dislike or do not like to celebrate, as I do with Halloween, and why? Selena, I know that you just spoke, but I'm gonna have you answer that question.
We have a lot of topics to you.
All right. I have never met a holiday that I did not like. They're all something to celebrate, whether they come from the American culture or from a culture from another country. And the holiday that I'm looking forward to celebrating tomorrow is the change of the season. Tomorrow is the solstice, if I'm not mistaken.
And there's a special pie that's made, or cake, it's called a moon cake that's made in different parts of the country, and there's a little stamp that you can purchase. I saw an article about it in the New York Times, and on Impulse, I ordered the stamping kit on Amazon. So tonight, when I get home, I'm going to be making some moon cakes. Pistachio honey moon cake. So there's a filling on the inside, and that filling is wrapped in this pastry dough that's stamped with these intricate, elaborate designs. I'm so excited. I cannot wait for for tomorrow, because I'm going to have these amazingly wrapped gifts of moon pies to give out to my friends. I wrap them up in ribbon and put them in a fancy bag, and they have these beautiful designs on them. I'm excited about this holiday, and I'm also excited about all of the others to come and all the ones I don't know about that I will learn about in the New York Times and decide to practice. Thank
You surprised me, Selena. I thought for sure you were going to talk about apple pies, but I guess that was not in the details. Now that we've talked about at least one of the holidays that I do not like, I would like to know what holiday is the most special for you that you like to celebrate. Fabiola, would you please come up?
Great question. Thank you for that. Like Selena, I also love holidays. But my biggest holiday to celebrate are birthdays. I love celebrating birthdays. In my family, we always have lots of food, music, dancing, and the family all over. And for me, it's my kids' birthdays that I like to spend a lot of time with and invite other kids, have piñatas, have lots of candy, have cakes or cupcakes. But for me, my biggest holidays to always celebrate are people's birthdays. I like to celebrate their birth, another year that will be coming for them. So yes, and I'll be turning 50. I'm really excited about that. Thank you.
Very good, Fabiola.
Yes.
And I can even celebrate COVID with a COVID pinata.
Christmas and birthdays. I'm at the age where I tell people I don't want anything for Christmas. I don't want or need anything for my birthday. Because usually what people would get me would be a sweater or a sweatshirt or a shirt. I went through my closet the other day. I have 16 sweatshirts, 10 sweaters, and over 200 shirts.
Oh,
No more clothing. So I'm curious, what do you tell people when they ask you, what would you like for Christmas? What would you like for your birthday? And why? Christine.
Here's your chance.
Always try. This is so freaky. I'll look at the out and all of your lovely faces. Lately, when the kids ask, what would you like for your birthday? What would you like for Christmas? The response is gift certificates to locally owned restaurants. We love to walk downtown Fridays usually to eat dinner at one of the local restaurants. The kids have to do a little work to make that happen because none of them live in town. But we're happy to help with that as well. Some of our favorites lately when we go to Visconti's, sitting out on the side that's fenced, the part that they fenced in, which is lovely. They have a calamari like no other. It's done in a broth with tomatoes and cilantro. It is incredible. If you go at Happy, it's only $6. You go at Happy. That way, if we get a gift card, we can sometimes make it go 2 dinners instead of just one. If you are wondering what to ask your kids or friends for your birthday or Christmas, I recommend gift cards to local restaurants. Great way to support businesses and a great way to get to experience local cuisine. Sir.
Thank you. That was a great suggestion. When I was growing up, my great grandmother and my grandmother during Christmas would make me my favorite pie, mincemeat pie. A lot of people don't like mincemeat pie. I love mincemeat pie made from fruits and spices with hard sauce on top. Until Mrs. Wolf brought her mincemeat pie one year. I do not recommend green tomato mincemeat pie. That is not very delicious. I would like to know if there were any special dishes or traditions in your family, either at Christmas or Thanksgiving, such as the one that I described when I was growing up. Pat.
The tradition that I love the most happened when I was a child, always at Christmas time. And on Christmas Eve, we would have a family dinner because my father worked in retail at the time and doors were open quite late. Then they put little Patricia Ann to bed. And when I would get up on Christmas morning, Santa Claus came. The house was just normal Christmas Eve, nothing special. And it's amazing what Santa Claus could do overnight, traveling on that sleigh from so far away, a Christmas tree completely decorated, presents under the tree, some of them wrapped, some of them toys that I could barely see. It was magic. It was magic. I don't think people do that anymore. It seems to be quite different, but for me, that is a memory that I just can't dispel. The idea of being a young child, go to bed, getting up in the morning with magic and wonder, and also help with belief in Santa Claus. And wonder that he could carry all that stuff from that cold place up north down to Orange, New Jersey. It was fantastic. I don't think I've ever had that same experience with Christmas since that time, but I carry it in my heart. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Very good, Pat. Thank you. About 3 Christmases ago, I received a gift from one of my nephews. I unwrapped it. It was a book of which I had no interest in at all. It was evident to me that my nephew didn't have any interest in the book either, and that I was now subject to a regift. Shortly thereafter, my wife and I, we redid our will, and I'm sure you can imagine what I bequeathed to that nephew. He will get that book back. I would like to know if you've ever been regifted a gift, either at Christmas or on your birthday, and got caught. Barbara.
Thank you, Lloyd, for timing me. Have I ever gotten caught regifting? Yes, I have. I have been to plenty parties in my time, Christmas parties, and one of my favorite things is the white elephant. If you have not been to a white elephant gift giving party, they're a hoot. It is the time to get rid of everything that you don't want in your house. That ugly gift that somebody else gave you that you didn't have the heart to say, or maybe an ugly sweater. This is the time to wrap it up as beautiful as you can, maybe even really big. Sometimes the big gifts go quick. Don't put it in a bag because people will sue. Put it in a beautiful package, with beautiful paper, with just a beautiful ribbon, so that somebody's going to select it because they're going to think it's amazing, some amazing gift. When they open it up, it's a lawn ornament, or that ugly sweater, or that fruit cake that you got from your neighbor, or maybe even, what is that favorite? The lemon pies are good. I want to say though, as fun as those, the most exciting gift I ever got was also through a party, a white elephant party, because it was Star Wars shaped cookie cutters. So it was always a fun thing too. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Moon pies seem to be pretty popular tonight. We have some holidays that are celebrated, but not really celebrated. They're on the calendar, but do we really do anything to celebrate them? I think of President's Day. It seems to me that there are some holidays that should be celebrated more, like President's Day, yet I find that more people are celebrating Cinco de Mayo. Maybe because it's a drinking holiday. I don't know. Eric, are there any holidays that don't mean as much to you, but maybe should?
Thank you, Master. I'm not much of a holiday guy. My wife loves every holiday. And I told her early on, I said, you don't need to buy me anything. I've got all this stuff and it went over like a lead balloon. So I get in the spirit and I really make an effort and I enjoy the chase of trying to find for a good present. And what I do, my strategy is Christmas, I wait till like the 23rd or 24th. Then there's nobody in the mall. And there's all these young girls helping, and they are ready to help me and run around and get all this stuff. That's what I do. But she has gotten better about it yesterday. She can just see that, you know, the blood drains from my body, how traumatic it is. So we go shopping together, and she'll make hints and pick things out, and that seems to have be a happy medium that we get worked out. But I make up for it by writing her poems, which are very personal and very heartfelt and have something to do with something that's happened that year or something that makes sense to her and maybe only her. So I feel like that I've made a little bit of
Is this pure confessions?
One thing I do want to bring up though is that we had, the white elephant things where you raced around, we were at Young Life and had like 40 people there. And this one girl, Young Life leader, got an onion. And I just felt terrible for her, so instead of racing around and trying to find something cool, I went and stole that onion. And we became lifelong friends, and it was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Eric. Great story. Lloyd, I got a tough one for you. Seems in this day and era that people tend to find ways to avoid work. Yet we still celebrate what is known as Labor Day. Lloyd, do you think Labor Day, the Labor Day holiday, really has any significant meaning in today's society?
Tabletop master. Labor Day was originally established to celebrate the role of labor unions, not working. And it has fallen into, well, been misinterpreted, it's what it amounts to. So now it's an occasion for many sales, typically mattress sales. Have you ever wondered about that? You know, every single holiday, there's a big mattress sale. Anyway, I digress. Back to Labor Day. Yes, that the holiday has been neglected. People don't understand that labor unions are why we have 5-day work weeks and why we have 40-hour work weeks as opposed to 10-hour days, 7 days a week. It's why we do not have child labor in the country anymore, which used to be very common. The labor unions are responsible for a lot. Unfortunately, they became a political target about 40 years ago, 50 years ago, I guess, longer than that, kind of Franklin Roosevelt's term. And because of that, people tend to associate labor unions with liberal politics, which they're not. They were originally very conservative organizations. In any event, I would say Labor Day is badly celebrated. We should be thinking about it a lot more than we do.
I think we have time for one more. And I would like to know a little bit more, Kathleen, when you go on holiday, is it important to fill every spare minute with some activity? Or do you take time off to just relax and read a book and do nothing?
I think I've made it abundantly clear that there is no relaxing on our holidays. You have to come home to read a book. I have been thinking about the best, worst gift ever that I got. I was in 3rd grade, the second oldest of 3 kids, 2 more stragglers would be born later. We were in Catholic and parochial school, where you wore those pleated plaid wool, even in the summer, the wool skirts that had to be down to your knees, and the saddle shoes, and the socks, and the tie. I was already frumpy, dressed the part, not a popular girl and no confidence. One holiday, we had to bring a gift. Everybody had to bring a gift and put it under the tree in the classroom. It only cost $1. This is way back. The biggest, most beautiful gift under the tree had my name on it. It sat there for a week. For a week, all the gifts came in, and there was my gift. It was huge. In heaven, I was thinking, wow, this is just fabulous. What could be in it? I was imagining all kinds of things, jewelry and toys, and just, I was beyond myself. We came to the day when we all opened the gifts. And there came my big giant box, and everybody was curious about it. Everybody was asking. I ripped open the paper and pulled out that box, and I pulled out a rubber ball. I was so disappointed. I share that with you as part of my
Well, thank you everyone for playing along. Vicki, I would like you to pick one of the questions that were previously posed and give it your all.
All right, thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. I am going to choose the one about what you asked for your birthday or Christmas. And what I ask of my kids is time. I just want to have an experience with them. If we go out to lunch or we go and do something and just spend some time together. I don't expect them to go out and get me anything. It's just that I enjoy creating the memory and the experience. And some experiences do involve, you know, big trips and so forth. When we, in 2018, we all drove down to California, and that's something that we still talk about and still look at pictures. But I think about, you know, yesterday I had my grandson here for about 3 hours and we were creating memories. We had lunch together. He was telling me about his experiences at school. And I'm hoping that when they get older, they remember these times with me as well. I know my kids still talk about the time they had spent with their grandmother. And I know that there's certain times in my life where I spent with my mom and it was very important. And it was just creating memories. So when people ask me what it is that I like and would like, how about a cup of coffee? We go out and just talk and get to know one another. Thank you, Mr. Table Talks Master.
Thank you, Vicki. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that topic tonight. I'm going to now turn the meeting back over to our Toastmaster, Kathleen McNulty.
I will not delay with any more childhood trauma stories. I will introduce our general evaluator, Vicki.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'm going to start calling upon my team. First up is Lloyd with his evaluation of Selena's speech. Lloyd.
Thank you, Vicki. This was an interesting speech in several ways. One of them was the topic and the way the speech was put together and whatnot. I think what I'll do is follow the organization on the evaluation form. First, what was done well? Visual language, extremely well done. It was easy to picture exactly what you were talking about, and that's really valuable. Visual language establishes verisimilitude, the sense that the speech, that you're in the speech. And so whenever possible, you should do that, and that's what Selena did. There was quite a bit of alliteration in the speech too. Alliteration is our initial sounds of words that are the same. One that I wrote down, sweet, cidery sense, for example. That's tricky to pull off. It's also, it requires a subtle touch too. If you do it too much, it sounds gimmicky and cutesy. You don't want that. You want it to have impact, and it did. The organization of the speech I thought was quite good. You know, the antique apples and working forward into the modern ones and so on. And then finally at the end, one thing that was, it was inspired by a problem, and that was the time, the way you adjusted for that. You know, didn't try to cram the entire speech into you know, the remaining 30 seconds. You simply restructured the end, and it worked really, really well. Now, what do you need to work on? Number one, your notes. I'm looking at your sizable deck of note cards there. Oh, it looks like there are, what, 15 of them or so, something like that. That prevented you from having eye contact because you spent a lot of your speech doing this, looking down at this like a kind of an imaginary spot on the table here. But for you, unfortunately, it was not imaginary, it was a note card. So probably, well, it just takes a little time to get into that. It's what it amounts to. But that's a big deal because it was a twofer. You were tied to the notes and it prevented effective eye contact. Number two, a delivery thing again, clasped hands. You spent most of the speech with your hands clasped like this. Did you notice the contrast with your table topics where you were animated, making gestures and whatnot? Go with the table topic style, not the clasped hand style. Handling the props. Now, I'm not sure what you could have done about that. You had to get way down here, get an apple and bring it up here and show it to us. Like, maybe that's just the way it had to be. It would probably have been better to have them lined up on the table so that you could pick one up, put it down, and so on. The challenge, I would say your biggest challenge for the second speech, and one that you should work on, is the time management. And that's because it interferes with the quality of the speech. There was a really great speech hidden inside of what you had. You know, and when your introduction that you provided, Kathleen, said you were going to talk about 17 varieties of apples. And my initial thought was that's about 20 seconds per apple, you know, for a 7-minute speech. You can't say a lot in 20 seconds. And so I know what's going on in your head. You're worried you don't have enough. And the result is you have way too much. Yes, that's a better problem, you have too much than not enough, but it's still kind of an issue. I'd make that my #1 priority for the second speech that you're going to do. However, great speech that is hidden inside of that, and the delivery issues are easy to deal with in a relative sense. The speech writing issues are not, and you've got that nailed down. So good job. Back to you, Vicki.
Thank you, Lloyd. Next up is our timer, Barbara.
Thank you, Vicki. So as a reminder, the speech that Selena gave should be between 5 to 7 minutes in length. Selena, you kept it at 7 minutes and 39 seconds, so very close. And I think Lloyd spoke to that in your review and how we could improve that. As a reminder, the table topics should be between, well, no more than 2 minutes. Selena, you because you went first. 1 minute and 13 seconds. Fabiola, just under a minute. Christina, 1 minute and 56 seconds. Pat, 1 minute and 45. Myself, 1 minute and 35. Eric, 2 minutes and 5. Lloyd, 1 minute and 31 seconds. Kathleen, 1 minute and 47 seconds. And Vicki, 1 minute and 17 seconds. So we all did an amazing job. And Lloyd's evaluation, it's between, 2 to 3 minutes. And Lloyd, your evaluation was 3 minutes and 44 seconds. That is my timer evaluation for this evening. Thank you, Vicki.
Thank you. For our grammarian report, please welcome Eric.
Laura-tinian. Quite impressive, guys. Kathleen used it once, Pat used it once, Selena twice, Christina once. Kathleen, this is to my grammarian part of the speech, where I keep track of good and bad use of grammar. Kathleen, I like the best worst gift. Pat, little Patricia Ann, cold place up north, I like that. Christina, freaky, I like when she says freaky. Rob, warm environment for the wound. Lloyd, there's some missimilitude and alliteration. Selena. I'm just impressed that she's doing a speech again, second time in a row, so I wasn't paying attention, that she hit me head with a sledgehammer. And she said, wasp, heavy, and windfall drunk. Before that, she said, I had to grab a notes because I couldn't read it down fast enough. I'm gonna have to take stenography to keep track of her. Signs bound, frost blankets, gilded larches beckon, bin leading trucks labeled Granny Smith. And then I hit my stride. Sweet, cidery scents. trip off our tongues, abound, tasty tapestry, make beautiful children, the little guy and the king, the queen relationship, rock star from Woodstock, Harper Diem, so good job. That's my report to the writer.
Thank you so much. And now I call upon Christina to find out how we did with our filler words.
Thank you. We did our evaluate. We liked our films. Vicky, one you know. Pat, 2 sentences started with M. Lloyd, 3 us. 1 and, 1 well. 5 you knows. 2 repetitions and 2 whatnots. Selena, you did great during your speech. Then the conversation after the speech about the apples pushed you up a little bit. 1 of, 2 ands, 3 repetitions, and once you said right. Eric, 5 ands, 1 like, 4 repetitions. Rob, 2 ands, 1 well. Barbara, 3 us, 2 ums, 1 and, 1 well, 2 so's, 2 repetitions. One variety.
Winner. Took a gift card.
Fabiola, 1 of, 3 ums. Kathleen, not a thing. Nice work. You will notice when I do this that I don't look at you as you speak. When I do that, I get lost in what you're saying rather than in my job. So if I keep my head down, use an extra piece of paper so that your name is just above that paper. It really helps me focus so that I can do what I'm supposed to do, helping all of us get better at the part of speaking that isn't a prepared speech. We can do that pretty well. It's the rest of our lives where we kind of mess up. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. My evaluation of the meeting as a whole, we had a full agenda. We had a speaker. That's always great to see, especially if we were to have a guest pop in. We need to have a speaker. So thank you, Selena, for answering that call when Rob put it out of we need a speaker. So get on, let Rob know who's going to be speaking next week. We only had one fill in for somebody that did not show up. Thank you, Lloyd, for jumping into that role. Let's see. There's another filler word. When we transferred from the speech, I don't think that we had the announcement of 1 minute until the speaker, or for the speaker evaluation, there was conversation, and then I did hear it, but then I wasn't sure that it was getting timed because there was still more discussion going on. So that minute really does help those that are writing feedback to the speaker in order to do that. So we need to try and remember that. Lloyd, as far as evaluation of the speaker, you have always great nuggets. You told her what worked, what she could do to tweak it a little bit, gave her some tips, and then reminded her what a great speech it was because it was fabulous. I really enjoyed it. My team had a great, we're on top of it. Rob, great table topics. You included everybody. And at this point, I will turn it back over to our president, Barbara.
Thank you very much, Vicki. I just want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. And I also want to say to Christina, is whatnot not a word? Because I use it quite a bit, so I'm just making sure.
It's kind of a filler.
Slang.
And Selena, a beautiful speech. Oh, I love it. And I have apples for everyone. Oh, I take it. Yes, the green one. Right, thank you. I will adjourn the meeting at really close to 6:30.
I have one announcement.
Oh, sorry.
Madam President, that's okay.
I apologize.
No, you're fine. Eric Lloyd, I was approached by Brian Brett. Apparently, they're going to be doing some speech evaluations, and they've asked us to participate in that. Apparently, we've done that in the past. And he's supposed to send me an email, and let me know when and where to see if we'd be interested in doing it again. So I'll let you know about that, but it sounded intriguing to me. So I hope that the club will entertain that idea. And I just wanted to mention Fabiola, I'm thrilled that you're here in
Yeah.
person.
First
You did a
meeting.
great job.
Really appreciate that.
Mhm.
That's all I have, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. I apologize for not asking
Oh, it's okay.
for adjourning the meeting. So I am now going to adjourn the meeting at executive. And I'm serious, guys, I'm riding the bus home and first going to the store, so please take out.